guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you guys already seen this look right here, then that means you already checked out the first episode of the Hussie and the Fraud. And so now we are on episode 2. If you guys are confused about what I'm talking about and what's going on, then you definitely want to check out my previous videos that I've posted. I don't know how many I have now, but look, your girl has been consistently posting. I hope that you guys are, I don't know if I want to say enjoying the content because it's not an enjoyable topic, but I definitely want to give you guys context before I just jumped into like hair and I don't know if I'll ever do makeup again, but like definitely hair reviews. I wanted you guys to see the amount of growth that I had from the time that I was on YouTube to now me returning, and that I'm more authentic to the woman and the person that you see standing in front of you when I'm doing these hair reviews or having these conversations. Like, you know, I've actually gone through some things and I can bring wisdom to a variety of topics. So again, if you guys already saw the first episode of the Hussie and Fraud, in that I'll quickly do a recap. I did talk about the conversation. So that was the conversation that I had with the Hussie, this woman to woman conversation. There was the I filed for divorce and then I served them when they returned back to Vegas. Yes, all of that tea you guys will have to see in the previous video. So in this video I'm going to jump into 2021. I don't remember if it was March or April, but we did have a court date. I want to say it was March. I believe we had a court date, and when we went into court, the judge essentially was like why am I here, right? So if you guys remember from the previous video, I was requesting alimony, half of his retirement, and my Sprint bill, and then he later on requested half of my YouTube earnings, or half of the business, something like that. And so basically that's what we were going to court for. So anybody that knows me from the beginning, they know the only thing that I really wanted was the money for the Sprint bill, because I had gone ahead and paid that Sprint bill, which was, I can't remember how much, I think it was like $500 at the time, but then I also had canceled his 3 lines, so his phone, and his 2 daughters' phone, and that ended up being I think like $1,600. It was something along those lines. So for me, I wanted that money back, and that ended up being like $2,100 or $2,200. It was something around that. For me, that's all I ever wanted from the beginning. If he would have gave me that money, we could have gone our separate ways and whatever. But essentially he made it very clear he was not going to give me the money back, although I found out he was using me to get more money, like from his daughter, to ask her for money from her inheritance to say that he was going to pay me back, but he never did. So I had always told myself that when it came time for, you know, moving forward in the divorce process, I would not allow me going after alimony or me going after his retirement to, you know, hold me up. Like, I wanted to be out of the divorce, and I had to remember my why, and for me it wasn't that extra money, which probably wasn't going to be any. So basically what I ended up finding out over going through like the divorce process, I started to get things in the mail. I started to find, you know, just pieces of information, and one, I found out that he was bringing home half of his paycheck. And so because he worked for the state, he only got paid once a month. And so the amount of money that he should have been bringing home, I think it was around, let's say $4,000 and something dollars. We'll say $4,500, right? But he was only bringing home like $2,500. And he was only bringing home $2,500 because there were so many people taking money out of his account. He owed back taxes. He owed child support. He owed for some type of jewelry. He owed people. He owed the state. He owed everyone. Crazy, right? So then that started to make sense of why during our marriage he just was never in a great financial position. And I'm like, where is your money going? And now it made sense. So also what I found out when we went to court is I had started to make more money than him by the time we had went back to court. So if you guys remember, I did go ahead and get a promotion in the, I want to say, the beginning stages of the divorce process. And so because of that, I ended up making more than him. And then because I don't owe people like that, I'm able to bring home all of my check besides, you know, taxes and stuff like that. And so yes, basically they were like, ma'am, like, we're not going to have him pay, you know, alimony because like you make more money than him. So I couldn't be mad about that, and I was not about to let that rile me up. I knew that God had favored me, and truly he had favored me through this whole process. And so to know that at the age that I am now, in my 30s, and still I'm like, I guess I would say I'm about middle 30s now, and the fact that he's about to to push 50 and I'm making more than him, I was like, you know what, I'll take it. I'll take it. So then when it came to the retirement, I learned that you have to go through a whole separate process to go after the retirement. And although I was legally able to go after it, I didn't want to go through the process. And the fact of the matter is, he couldn't even pay me the $2,000 that he owed for this bill or whatever. I wholeheartedly knew he wasn't about to pay for an attorney for us to figure out how much his retirement was and for us to separate it. And then knowing that his financial situation was just completely in ruins, there was a chance that there probably wasn't even anything in his retirement. So I was like, I'm not about to let this hold me up. So I was like, look, I don't want anything. I just want, you know, the Sprint bill or whatever. Like, I just want that. And the thing about it, y'all, is that he went in there and he caused a fit, and in him causing a fit, he ended up telling on himself that he did owe me for the phones and everything like that. So they ordered him to pay me that, and they told him, they were like, you should probably get that done as soon as possible so like that you guys can be like divorced, because he would go in there like, when are we getting a divorce? When is it going to be final? And he needed to know when it was going to be final because he was planning a wedding. So basically, once the judge ordered him to pay that amount, the judge then was like, you guys need to have a conversation. Like, you don't have any children, you don't have like any property or anything. You guys can like really, you know, get these papers signed and then, you know, just file them. So y'all, I mustered up every single of God's strength to have a conversation with him outside of court and was like, look, we need to get this part done. So I need to do this. I need to sign this. Can you sign this? Can you do this? And basically I did the process. Then I found out you have to get the paperwork notarized. So I asked him like, hey, are you available for this day? I think it was like May 5th, May 6th, something along those lines, to sign the divorce papers. And he was like, I'm not available, but I'll be available the following week. And so I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. So come to find out, May 5th, May 6th, somewhere around there, that was the day that he and her got married. Crazy, right? Now again, that's where the Hussie and the fraud comes in, because it's like, if his wife told you that we weren't divorced, that no divorce papers had been, you know, filed, but then I served you both, you would then think that she would have wanted to see divorce papers, or that she would requested them or whatever, but yet and still she's boasting and bragging on social media that she's about to get married, but to somebody else's husband. Crazy. So essentially, of course, because I just have a crazy tribe, I get video footage of their wedding, and the crazy part about it was an imitation of our wedding. I feel like nothing was original. For me, I didn't know whether I should be honored or like what, but it was just like, it was just so creepy. It really was. So something else that I thought was also creepy was in seeing like the video footage, and I think I even saw like a few pictures, none of his family was present, to my knowledge, at the wedding. Now at our wedding, everyone was there. His mama, his aunties, uncles, cousins, like they're in our wedding. But in their wedding, there was not a single person that looked familiar. And essentially he hired his groom party. So again, I don't know if I should have felt honored that at least his real family showed up, and the fact that he didn't hire people, you know. But either way, the simple fact that like I'm tied to an individual that would do those things is mind-boggling to me. And so that's literally why I call it the Hussie and the fraud, because they were aware of this madness and this shenanigans. And for me, I can't be upset about it. I'm just so thankful and so grateful that God removed me from the situation. Because I think you have to be a really crazy individual to get married on one weekend and then the following weekend you sign divorce papers. And the crazy part about it is we signed divorce papers on, I think it was like May 15th or something like that. I want to say it was like May 15th. These dates might be a little bit off, but I think it was May 15th, 2021. That was just us signing them like with a notary. I made it very clear to him that I was not filing the final divorce papers until he gave me my money. And so we had agreed on a payment plan, and he claimed he was going to pay me $200 each month until he paid the balance off. Now mind you, $200 for a $2,000 debt, like, do you see how long that is? But yeah, you got money to get married and whatever. So he paid the original $200. I want to say it was like between May 1st and May 3rd or something like that. That's when he paid the original $200, and I guess he thought that was going to be an incentive for me to file the paperwork. But I told him I was not filing until I had all of my money. And so I think after that, like, he was already married, so what else did he need to do? So I think that's why he just ultimately never paid me anything else other than that $200. So ironic enough, she had the nerve to, I think, be insecure about, you know, what he was doing and who he was talking to, because the reality is he did not stop talking to these other individuals that he was talking to. I even had people from his job that were telling me, like, she's not the only one. She's not the only one at their job. And that he's had people come up there looking for him. And the crazy part about it that I didn't tell you guys is that he works at a facility, right, where his ex-wife, not me, but his ex-wife works at. And then he got married to me, and then now he's married to this individual now. So his ex-wife and his new current illegal wife apparently work at the same job, or at least they did. Messy. Messy. Do you guys see how messy that is? So I remember when I talked to her, she even knew who his ex-wife was, and, you know, they had had some type of relationship or some type of conversation. So she was very much aware of his situation, but yet and still she continued with him. So I don't know if she felt like he's going to be different or whatever, but that's not my problem. So I'll just jump to July 15th is the day that I decided to actually file the final divorce papers. And that's because I truly had been blessed. God had blessed me financially to where I didn't need to wait for his $2,000. And so I had made the decision and the agreement with God, like, all right, God, you bless me, I'm not going to allow this to hold me back. So I went and filed. I filed July 15th. Our divorce was not final until September 7th, 2021. So think how crazy that is, that they had a whole ceremony in May of 2021, but like our divorce was not final until September of 2021. So they both are bigamists. But yeah, that's the life that they want to live. That is the story and the journey that, you know, they were fine with starting. And so for me, I'm just, again, glad to be removed from the situation. So I'm not sure what the next episode will be just yet. I know that this is basically the end of the Hussie and the Fraud, because there wasn't that much information between at least her and I, but it all centers around the fraud. So I might have another I Kissed a Fraud episode, and or lead into the lessons that I've learned with all of this situation that I have went through. So definitely make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any questions, any topics that you want me to touch on, and that could possibly be a next episode. But either way, I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video.